Hey guys, so today I'm going to be talking more in depth about TempleOS as the last video got cut off due to a business call and some other unfortunate issues. But today I'm going to be going more into specifics about some of the individual games and fixing up some of the stuff that I said and what was wrong. Just 1 second though. So, now that I'm back, I wanted to mention some of the more in depth things about TempleOS, such as this. This little thing right here, doc term. You can search up anything and it will actually tell you any words that come near it as a dictionary. Now, I personally like to shut this off, but another great thing about TempleOS that was cut off that I was mentioning from the previous video was the ability to drag windows. This might look like something you would find in a computer BIOS, and yes, it very much looks like it, but you can actually drag windows around, you can X them, you can even scroll down them if they actually have enough content to scroll. I mean, look at this. It even works. You don't need a scroll wheel for it to work. Now, scroll wheels barely work on this system, and mice can be very buggy and non-compatible, but it works nonetheless. He even seemed to have a game that's more akin to an RPG. Oh, wrong game. Control M. Actually, escape. Control M. Now, he seemed to have a game that was more akin to an RPG, which I will zoom down to here, called Dungeon. Use the arrow keys to move, and if I'm correct, you press the arrow key you want to attack in and space to attack. It's very, very, let's say, slow, but it works nonetheless, and it still creates for fun gameplay. I mean, as long as you're not someone like one of my friends who thinks a game needs to have 4K and RTX to be a good game. As you can see, it's a pretty large map. I mean, I would say it's a pretty large map for an OS of this age. Your main goal is to kill all the different enemies, but even then, you're probably not going to be able to kill all of them without spending a lot of free time. My main goal for me is to become a main programmer for this system. Now, that's going to be very difficult, even though I have some experience with C. Holy C has some minor deviations in how it functions. Because of that, it might cause issues later down the line if I ever choose to start working on Holy C more in depth. But beyond that, I wanted to cover some other basic commands, like this. See? Print hello world, 0.000010 seconds. This is supposed to show the response time of how long it took to respond to your command and deliver a response. Beyond that, most of the information that you need to know is in the Take Tour menu, which I showed earlier, which has documentation on the Holy C language, such as this being a JIT compiler. The Holy C compiler is very similar to C and C++, but you do not need parentheses. This is an example program that shows the differences between the program. As you can see, this is going to show how it works. Now, it will correct you if you mistype, which it's being annoying now, but if I just exit out of this and go back, it fixes itself. Now, the back menu here is called Atom. It's the main task center of the entire operating system. Whenever you see errors, they'll commonly pop up here if there are errors in your commands. It also lists boot time in the registry, as well as the operating system version and time of boot. Now, sometimes the time is correct on the operating system, and sometimes you need to manually set the time, which can be a pain. Now, pressing Control D is probably one of the most useful commands in this entire system, as it opens up the file manager. It also has a list of commands right here that you can use, but if you don't like dealing with shortcuts, you can always right-click. which will allow you to do any of these options. Rename, plain text edit will not allow you to edit code files unless you absolutely want to save it as a text file itself. Formatting is, of course, format. Mounting an ISO.c file is often what you would use if you're running this on real hardware to mount an ISO file from a disk, often to run a program. I could show an example in a later video about running Doom in this, which, yes, would be very much possible. Running Doom in this would not be that difficult, and a project has already been made called Toon, with the T standing for the creator of the system, Terry Davis. And it even replaces Doom Guy's face with Terry, but it's a full reconstruction of Doom within this version of the system, considering how Doom was also made in C, so therefore it can be ported a lot more easier than some older or later games from Microsoft Basic into TempleOS. This menu right here will be your saving grace if you ever need anything, and this works very much like a more rudimentary Windows Explorer for anybody who's a Windows user out there. This thing also supports assembly code, and that's really much that you need to know. Now, the one thing you need to know is do not screw with this folder, unless you absolutely need to. This is something you don't screw with. This is the main system. This is the code for the entire main system. You can edit it however you please, but I would not recommend you do it unless you know what the hell you're doing. Because if you do one thing wrong or accidentally delete the folder, this thing will not boot up and you'll have to reinstall the entire system. This is where you would often have other drives, like 2 disk drives, or if I mounted one in the virtual machine, this is where it would show up. Now, if you close all windows, you might have noticed by now, there is a term option in the bottom right. That'll open up a terminal that takes down the entire bottom of the screen. Now, this is the help and index. This is also going to be one of your most appreciated sections. From a welcome all the way to a requirements section, down to demands and Holy See, which this is going to be a really, really important page for anybody who wants to be a developer in this system. Because this gives you a rundown of all the differences between C and Holy See, as well as the other differences and how it functions, and an example program down here. Now, if you want to say, in my opinion, what one of the best sections is, it's the About section. This talks about his different ideas and beliefs about the system, and he even claims he forced himself to suffer through the original Star Trek. Now, if you go up here and go to the About page, you get a short description on Terry Davis, as well as his original Nevada, Las Vegas, his email. Sadly, he has passed away, so if you are planning to message, just know that his email is most likely no longer active, either that or no one's going to accept it. He did also help on the machine that would soon become the 3D printer, and was one of the greatest programmers of his time, in my opinion. Now, you can also click up here for the menu, but for right now, I'm going to walk through one of the tutorials as an example for anybody who wants to watch. So, I'm going to go to the menu and go to Take Tour. Now, I'm going to do the first tour that would make more sense, the basics. This is the command line. Now, an example would be dir command, which would show you the current directory that you're in, so c/miscellaneous/tour. Control M, personal menu, and cursor down 9 times. See, the space would be the left, mouse action, enter would be right, escape, save, and exit, shift, escape, abort. Now, press space, and now you're in the demo/ASM folder. The blue underline entries these blue options right here, this one will move you one directory up, this one will move you all the way up to the highest directory possible. Now, if you're on Control T, that goes to straight plain text mode, which is something I would not recommend unless you are good at reading through a lot of text and not messing anything up. But for right now, that was just an extension of the previous video that I had failed to get in previously, so thank you for watching.